This is my explanation of my lesson for math and science integration. This lesson is geared towards kindergarten in the subjects of math and science. The lesson title is How Many Steps? The length of the lesson is 1 hour. The subject standards used in this lesson are describe measurable attributes of an object such as length or weight, describe several measurable attributes of a single object. The second one is directly compare two objects with a measurable attribute in common, to see which object has more of or less of the attribute and describe the difference. I address multiple intelligences in this lesson. I address the visual spatial learner, which they will be able to measure and hold objects to understand the concept of basic measuring. The logical mathematical learner, which will be able to use logic and reasoning to solve the mathematical problems. And for the interpersonal learner, they will be able to work with a partner to measure objects. The goal of my unit is for each student to understand how to correctly measure an object. Hopefully by the end of the lesson, students will be able to measure objects correctly using length and weight. They will be able to record their measurements with 100% accuracy. The strategy I'm using for this assessment is that students will be able to observe an object, measure it, and record the data. The materials needed for this lesson are a data sheet, a crayon, a scale, different objects in different sizes such as a ball, small box, pencil. They could use their lunchbox or their backpack, a tape measure, and a ruler. They will also be measuring their own body parts such as their arms, their feet, and then they'll weigh themselves on a scale that I have provided. In the beginning of this lesson, the teacher will begin to explain to the students how every object has a different shape. The teacher will use an example so that students understand that everything is made differently and everything has a different weight and length, even if it's the same object. For example, 2 apples. They can be the same, look the same, but they could have different weights, different lengths, and can be measured at different sizes. The teacher will also show students how to use a tape measure. My rationale for this part is that students will get a basic understanding of measurements and that not every object is the same. I will also explain to them how not every person's arm is going to be the same length. You're not all going to weigh the same. You're not all going to be the same height because we are all different. And then in my presentation, I will explain to the students that all measurements are to be done in inches, which I will show them on their ruler, inches, and on their tape measure. I will explain to the students that they will be measuring different objects. After they measure and weigh the ball, a small box, pencil, and their lunchbox, or their backpack, whichever one they have, they will measure themselves. We will do 1 or 2 examples together as a class, as a whole group. And I will show them how to measure the box and ball and how to weigh them after, because they're going to have to measure them and then weigh them after. And at the end, when the students work independently, they will be able to work in groups of 2 or 3 to measure, weigh, and record their data. My rationale for this part is that these objects will get the students engaged. They will be able to understand and observe objects. They will be able to know how to correctly measure each object and weigh it correctly. They will learn that each object is different, whether it's by weight or length or height. Hopefully they can distinguish these differences and classify them. After they record the data on their worksheets, they will compare their results to the results of others in their group. From there, they will put the results in order from least to greatest. So, for example, if person A weighs 50 pounds, person B weighs 55 pounds, and person C weighs 53 pounds, then from least to greatest, person A, 50 pounds, person C, 53, and then person B would be the largest amount, the greatest. And also, we would do it by height. This will help the students understand how to measure the difference between length and weight. They will be able to order their results from least to greatest, and then at the end of their worksheet, they will have to classify each object by weight, length, and height, and they will show it on their worksheet. They will demonstrate it for me. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed my explanation of my lesson.